It's 2019 and you just finished reading your favorite manga Tokyo Ghoul. You haven't had enough, so you look up Tokyo Ghoul on Steam and what is that? A Bandai Tokyo Ghoul game? Without a single moment of hesitation, you buy it and boot it up. Begin the campaign and... What the fuck? I'm sure by this point most people already refunded the game, but I wanted to take a look at what lies behind this crappy slideshow. I thought this was a brawler, but clearly the devs felt like making a visual novel. Except they didn't even bother lip-syncing the dialogue. Jokes aside, there is actually a game to play here. Kinda. You play through the entire story of Tokyo Ghoul from mostly Kaneki's perspective in a grand total of 9 missions? Hold on. Aren't 9 missions a bit too little for this many chapters? Anyway, missions aren't anything groundbreaking. If anything, they're probably too simplistic. All you have to do is either reach the shiny rectangle on the ground or press the shiny switch on the wall. Repeat this a few times, beat up some random, and you're off to the next mission. The combat loop is about on the same level. There's no real reason not to spam heavy attacks throughout the entire game. The thing that puzzles me about this game is that it does not look like it came out in 2019, let alone 2009. I'd say it looks and plays like a PS2 game, but that would be an insult to some of the greatest action games of all time. So let's say it plays and looks like a bad PS2 game. Oh shit, wrong image. If the abhorrent graphics aren't enough to convince you, just take a look at how the level progression is designed. Each time you clear an area, the game freezes and gives you a 30-second overview of the upcoming objective, which means you can go for about 5 coffee breaks throughout each level. If that's not enough for you, don't worry, cause you'll get some extra seconds to spare with each boss appearance since the game feels the need to kindly notify us about every single elite enemy that spawns. Our toolkit is also pretty simple. We've got square to punch and kick people, circle and triangle for heavy attacks, L1 to unleash our devastating ultimate attack that only ends up devastating the surroundings since it takes about 10 to 12 business days to land, and finally... Wait, is that a gun? And wait, why do the ghouls have guns? Thankfully, the game spices up the gameplay with an outstanding display of AI programming. With enemies that have a hard time dealing with the slightest difference in elevation. In complete Tokyo Ghoul fashion, in this game things are either black or white, because if normal enemies take a single slap to the face to get slapped, bosses are literal sandbags that barely flinch at whatever you throw at them. As most of you probably know, after Kaneki gets off-screen by Arima, he's brainwashed into becoming a ghoul investigator, meaning we get to take a look at how they play. It's essentially the same as playing as a ghoul, except you need to use medkits to heal yourself instead of regenerating, and you get a whole arsenal of explosive you can chuck at ghouls. To be honest, I kinda have fun for the first 10 minutes, because since the gun is really strong, most of my Heise gameplay looked like this. Sadly, the fun ends very quickly, since the next mission is there to remind us that at the end of the day, we're playing a terrible game. One-Eyed King Elimination Operation is, aside from being a mouthful, definitely the standout mission in this game. About halfway through the mission, you have to hold a button for a few dozens of seconds to keep progressing, which is nothing new. The fun part is that you need to do it while being poisoned by CRC gas and jumped by the entire CCG corps at once. What this gas does is essentially deplete your blue bar, basically your stamina, in a matter of seconds. Your blue bar is what determines whether you are allowed to play the game or not, since almost every action requires it. Dodge? You need stamina. Heavy attack? You need stamina. Guard break attack? You guessed it, you need stamina. So you're basically reduced to just moving around and punching your enemies helplessly while desperately trying to hold down the button. To make things even worse, this stage literally doesn't have any music for a decent chunk of it. And I don't know whose fetish slipped into the game, but it's also filled with whip enemies with a 500-kilometer range that strangle you on sight. Even Kaneki himself was definitely fed up with all this, since at some point he started hallucinating the enemies. Except, it turns out doing so despawns all the other enemies on the map, so I started abusing Kaneki's hallucinations to clear it out whenever I could. And that's about it. The game is only 6 hours long and fails miserably at retelling Tokyo Ghoul's story. There isn't a single cutscene in the entire game. Not one. Everything is explained through screenshots of the anime and some occasional dialogue, often followed by this low quality splatter effect that, for some reason, they couldn't stop spamming. Like, we get it. Ultimately, this is a terrible choice since, realistically, who is this game even for? Retelling the story like this disappoints fans and just completely confuses the hell out of anyone who dared to buy this game to get into the franchise. So yeah, to sum it up, the game looks 15 years older than it is, the combat doesn't have any depth, and the level design looks like it came out of a children's game. But don't worry guys, there's an online mode, so even if the story mode is terrible, you can at least enjoy this game with your friend. Oh, that's rough. Clearly there's a reason to why this is the first, and probably the last, Tokyo Ghoul console game to ever come out. Realistically, there's nothing this game does that others don't do better, and it does it 10 times worse, except for being a Tokyo Ghoul game. But even that is debatable. So even if you're a diehard fan of the game, I'd tell you to get this on a 90% plus sale or save yourself the headache and play literally anything else.